and proud for what Farm Bureau does for farmers and property owners and others throughout the great state of Tennessee.
I know that many members of this body in the Senate feel that the Farm Bureau organization and more importantly, our Farm Bureau members back in the district really represent the values of this state.
I have found since I've been up here Farm Bureau to be the one segment of rural life, the one piece of our total puzzle that doesn't get enough credit or attention for what they provide.
The Farm Bureau, I think, considering that Tennessee has always been an agrarian state, that it is important to have those organizations that takes care of our farmers, that assimilate information.
In fact, I go out to see the Farm Bureau folks to advise me rather than let them come to me.
And I need and I rely on both the folks at Farm Bureau send up here to educate us on some things, as well as the constituents.
Farm Bureau's voice in the halls of the legislature is still the one voice that lawmakers can count on. Year in, year out, the continued success of this grassroots organization depends on our ability both at the state and national levels to speak out on those issues that affect a way of life that's become increasingly more endangered. And there's no doubt that Farm Bureau voice was instrumental during the first session of the 108th Tennessee General Assembly.
Well, when you look at this session, we were successful in a number of ways. First of all, in most sessions, what's really important are the number of bills that are not good for agriculture that we're able to keep from moving forward, and that's always important, and we had a number of those this year. But in addition to that, we were able to find a balance between the rights of gun owners and the rights of property owners. We felt good about some historic workers' compensation reform that hopefully in the future will make workers' comp more affordable for employers, but also streamline it and make it work better for the injured employee as well. We found some regulatory relief as far as transporting cats and dogs in a statute that was where the wording was just simply misplaced, and so we cleaned that up, but also brought about some regulatory relief from open burning regulations for those farmers who live in municipal areas. Then what could prove to be most important over time is that an annexation or a moratorium on annexation for the next 13 months was put in place. And during that time, we'll look at how annexation continues to occur in the state and whether or not folks should have the right to vote before they're annexed into a city. So that one could really prove to be important long term.
And there were a number of budgetary items that Farm Bureau supported, including continued full funding of the Ag Enhancement Program and funding for 4-H and FFA. And besides the gun bill, one of the most noted bills that passed this session was pushed through by Farm Bureau and the entire ag community.
Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change the vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Ayes 50, nays 43, two present not voting.
Senate Bill 1248, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare it passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled.
Passage of the Livestock Cruelty Prevention Act came in the final days of the session, and following a media frenzy by HSUS and other animal welfare activists, the governor eventually vetoed the bill, but its sponsors are working to bring it back next session.
During the second half of the 108th General Assembly, we will reintroduce the Livestock Cruelty Prevention Act, but it's going to look probably significantly different. What was what I thought a very simplistic one-page bill probably end up being 11, 12, 13 pages is the draft that we've got right now. Senator Gresham and myself have spoken at length. We've also spoken with Governor Haslam and his administration. Probably the thing that's helped us the most is that we do have the Attorney General's opinion from this last year, and what we've been able to do is kind of weave a path through that opinion, hopefully to have bridged all the hurdles presented in that Attorney General's opinion.
And I can tell you there's nobody in this chamber that respects livestock more than I do.
Yeah, when an important bill is up, it is so important to make contacts with lawmakers. We had 50 votes on the House side and numerous lawmakers of those 50. I like to call them the fabulous 50 that voted with Andy Holt on his bill. Those fabulous 50, numerous of them said that they received contacts from farmers, livestock producers in their district that asked them to vote for that bill, and that's why they did it.
And we are still fortunate in Tennessee to have several lawmakers that support our farmers and Farm Bureau on issues like this. But because of the continued demographic change from rural to urban, that voice has to become even more prominent to get our message heard.
I think it's extremely important, and I need to know from every type of group to come in and tell me what's on their mind, and I believe that they know their issues a whole lot better than I do. So the education that they bring is vital to me.
It means a lot to hear from Farm Bureau. We trust Farm Bureau members. We know that they're going to steer us in the right direction whenever issues come up. So it's critically important to hear from them in Nashville and even at home.
Every major industry of the state have representatives up here, we call them lobbyists sometimes, that help educate the legislators about issues that are important to their industry. Certainly Farm Bureau has excellent people, and you've had for a long time, as long as I've been here, which is 12 years. And I'm very dependent upon them to make sure that I do the right thing and help educate me about the issues.
Hearing from folks at home is the most important thing that we do. I'm very fortunate. I have 5 counties in West Tennessee. I grew up in rural West Tennessee and represent some really great people. I've got a new district this year, so part of that means meeting new people, understanding what those issues are. Their input is critical on any number of issues, even if it doesn't go through the Ag Committee.
And anytime Farm Bureau comes with an issue, they've always done their homework. They've got all their ducks in a row, all the information any of us representatives would need. And then on top of that, I mean, Farm Bureau is just a fantastic organization. I mean, just in what it does across the board in many different facets. I mean, Farm Bureau just does a fantastic job, I think, of representing both their customers and folks in the community. And I'm just proud to be there to be able to partner with them to make sure we have good legislation and to be able to serve my community.